Hey guys, my name is Koskas. I'm a financial consultant and a real estate consultant. I'm starting to do videos, maybe you saw some of them already, about all kinds of financial devices to invest in Israel, like קרן השתלמות or פנסיה, ביטוח מנהלים, גמל, all kind of the videos about the real estate market. And I'm doing it more and more and more. My wife is an עולה חדשה, so it's one of the main reasons I'm doing it for the עולים חדשים community. And by the way, if you guys have any ideas of new topics you want me to talk about, feel free to talk to me, to write down in the comments, and I will try to do my best to do videos about it that explain more about those issues in Israel. This video is actually a parallel video that I did in Hebrew that became very viral. The question was, what can you do with 100,000 shekel in Israel, or maybe in another country, but what can you do basically to invest in 100,000 shekel? If you write in Hebrew, what can you do with 100,000 shekel, you're getting to my video or to my content that I wrote about it, number one for sure. So I decided to do the exact same thing, just in English. Hopefully, again, it will catch in English, most likely not, but the idea was if it was good and he answered a lot of questions to many people. By the way, what to do with 100,000 shekel? It's the most common search in Google about the different amount of money that what can you do with it to invest. So basically, again, I will try to give you my perspective about investing in stock market, real estate, all kind of different investment tools that are unique for Israel. And hopefully they will answer the question also to עולים חדשים that got to Israel, that looking for what to do, how to grow their financial status in Israel. So first of all, Warren Buffett said that if you don't find a way to make money when you sleep, you will work until the day you die. And I really believe it. So that's why I think investment is such an important thing. The idea is very simple. You need to make sure that your money will work the time that you're not working. So let your money work and not you work for the money will work for you. That's the basic principle behind investment. So let's get to the point of what I believe. So first of all, when people ask me, what should I do with 100,000 shekel? I go back to them with different questions. Like, what do you mean what to do with 100,000 shekel? Let's first understand who you are. What's your need? What's your goal? What's your age? Are you single? Are you married? Do you have kids? Are you in your 40s, in your 50s, maybe in your 60s? You're thinking about retirement right now. Are you already investing in some different thing like stock market? Are you investing right today in the real estate? Where are you investing today? That's the basic question I want to ask, because part of my strategy is obviously to split the investment to different kind of investment types. How much you dependent on the money? Do you need the money now? Do you need the money in a year from now? What happens if the money will go down a little bit? How much risk are you willing to take with your investment? And obviously, the more risk, the higher pay. So do you want to be active in your investment? Do you want to just press the button and forget about it? Do you want to give the money to somebody else? All those questions are important significantly. You can't really give an answer without answering all those questions first. But what I'm going to give you in this video, it's an option, different option to do with the money. And obviously, one option is not better than the other. But one option is better to the other if you look at a specific person. For example, if you're young, you prefer high risk, more payout, because we look in the long run. If you're more older, you will think low risk and make sure your stability and the money will never go down. So let's start explaining a few of the options, and maybe you'll go down exactly to my thought about what am I saying about those things. So let's start with the basic thing, real estate. Also, Mark Twain said once, buy real estate, they're not making any more of it. Buy lands, he said, more specifically. So first of all, Israel is a crazy real estate market. You probably know it by now if you live here. Just in 2022, the real estate market in 1 year went up by 16%. The rent is not very amazing, but the prices of the house go significantly. Now, the question is, what can you actually do with 100,000 shekel in Israel that includes real estate? So there's a few options. Option number one is to buy in areas that like in the suburbs. Obviously not Tel Aviv, not Herzliya, not Netanya, not Haifa. Go farther. Go to Kiryat Shmona. Go to Eilat in the south. Go to the area of Netivot next to Gaza. Go to all those areas. The reason is very simple. First of all, you can buy something there for $500,000 and then you take 100,000 shekel, you use a mortgage. The second reason is over there, the profit on the houses usually is higher. If we're looking at rent, if Tel Aviv makes 1% or 1.5% from rent year, like for example, if you buy something for 4 million shekel in Tel Aviv, you're going to get rent of 7,000 shekel. But if you buy in 2 million shekel, 2 apartments, for example, for 1 million shekel in the Krayot, each apartment will generate you 4,000 shekel a month. So that's just to give you the understanding of the mathematics. Secondly, if you look in the suburbs, the real estate goes up percentage-wise significantly more. Think about it like that. If we look in an apartment in Tel Aviv that costs 4 million shekel and it goes up to 10%, it's 4 million to 400. So it's a lot, it's a big jump. But from the other side, if we look at an apartment that costs 1 million shekel and you want to go up by 10%, it's become just 1.1 million. And that's an easier jump to make when you look at real estate. That's why it's the suburb, usually in percentage-wise, the real estate goes up higher. Okay, the other option you can do is to invest in lands. It's not my recommendation, I always say it, because lands in Israel takes a long time before they actually move forward with the planning status. So like if you buy agricultural land and you're waiting for it to become like for residential, it can take 10, 20 years. But it's important to understand it's an option. You can see it all over the market as to media, to Facebook, to Google all the time. Buy lands, buy right for an apartment. Usually it's not really to buy a right for an apartment, just buying a piece of land that hopefully one day will become a right to an apartment. The third option to invest in real estate in Israel is to invest through the stock market. There's a lot of Israeli real estate companies that were public companies that you can now invest through Israeli Tel Aviv, the Israeli stock market. So that's a nice option because you can do it with every amount of money you want, and you can sell it in a second. It doesn't have all the process of buying real estate. But from the other side, you don't really do it with leverage. The amazing part of investing in real estate, compared, for example, to the stock market, is that you leverage your money. You take a huge mortgage, and then if you look how much money you made on your own money, it's significantly higher. People keep talking about what happened if I put 100,000 shekel in the stock market for 10 years or 100,000 shekel in the real estate for 10 years. Usually, if you look at the same amount of money, the stock market will win. But when you go to invest in real estate, you don't use 100,000 shekel. You take 100,000 shekel and you invest actually with 500,000. And when 500,000 becomes 700, you basically made 200% on your own initially 100,000 shekel. I hope I'm clear. But when you invest in the stock market, or even when you buy land, you don't really leverage your money. You use the money as whatever you have, that's what you're buying with. And the reason is because you don't want to take a mortgage if you don't have a monthly income from rent that can pay the mortgage. So real estate, obviously, it's a good option, and it's the first option I'm talking about. The second option is actually funny. It's to invest in real estate, just not in Israel. As you may know, there's a lot of countries that do real estate very well. There's a lot of countries that people, right now you can see a lot of companies publishing us to buy in Greece, in Cyprus, in Georgia, in the Ukraine, people kept telling us to buy. Look what happened there right now. But obviously, to buy an apartment for 50,000 euro or $50,000 is relevant for many, many different countries. I myself, I do invest in other countries besides Israel. I invest in Portugal. Portugal gives you the option of 80% for a foreign citizen, 80% mortgage for 1% interest. So if I want to invest in real estate in a good place, I invest specifically in Porto. Investing in outside of Israel is also a good option to what to do with 100,000 shekel. For example, if I came with 100,000 shekel, I bought something for 100,000 euro with mortgage. And again, it's good to leverage money if you do it for investment, especially with mortgages. So the second option is obviously to invest in other country real estate. Okay, let's put real estate aside. The stock market. Invest directly in the stock market is a great option. I believe that people need to have for the average person, doesn't matter if it's Israel or for different countries, you need to know how to invest in the stock market directly, even though your pension and all your Gemel or whatever you heard about right now is invest in the stock market. Because when you learn how to invest in the stock market directly, you can find opportunities that like those companies will not do with your pension. For example, Huge companies, and I'm not recommending you to buy or invest in any company specifically. Let's just say Facebook right now dropped by 70% as it happened in the last few months. It happened like in 2022. Maybe it's a good opportunity to invest in them, because if they will just go back to where they were, it's a lot of money of profit. And it's important to understand it. I do think, though, that if you invest in the stock market, and obviously you can invest with 100,000 shekel, you can invest 1,000 shekel, you have to have a specific strategic plan of how to invest it. I myself say you need to invest in 4 different types of stocks. The first one is the huge companies, like all those major, like Amazon, Netflix, Facebook. I'm not telling you to invest in those companies specifically. I'm just saying, build your portfolio from those companies that you really believe in, like Nike, if you wear Nike or whatever. The second one is dividend companies, companies that give you dividend, like Philip Morris and Marlboro, the cigarette company. They give 8% dividend a year. So you can actually enjoy the money while you invested in it. The third kind is to invest in index, like the S&P 500, all those kind of different kind of index. There's a lot, the NASDAQ and whatever. And the fourth kind is to invest in those unicorn companies, those small companies that just public. We don't really know what's their future hold for them. But if they went big, they can go big significantly. I always give example. I invested in Fiverr, an Israeli company, when it was $19. After a year, it became $900. So I basically made 1,500% from one investment in a year. Now, to tell you I knew it will happen? No, I had no idea it will happen. When you invest in the stock market, the idea is to invest in different kind of stocks, different stocks all the time, not to put all your eggs in one basket, as we like saying. But it's important to understand what you can do with 100,000 shekel. Of course, you can invest in the stock market, and it's a great tool, but you have to learn what you're doing. Everything you're doing, that I gave you an example, you have to learn what you're doing. Okay, now let's talk about Israel specific. In Israel specific, there's a lot of different things you can invest in that we call them investment tools. Like you probably heard about it, Gemel Hashka'a or Polisat Chisachon. Those are the Hebrew names for them. In those things, you basically give your money, and the money is being managed by one of the biggest investment firms in the country or the insurance company. And let's just say you put 100,000 shekel in Polisat Chisachon. The money can be splitted by different style of investment. You choose them. You can tell them to put the money in the stock market. You can tell them to put the money in index, like the S&P 500. You can tell them to put the money in government bond, very low risk, obviously, low interest as well. Or you can even tell them put it in a general course. In the general investment, basically give me some of everything. Give me some of stocks, give me some of like index, and give me some of government bond, and also give me some stuff that are not actually tradable, like real estate. You put the money there, you put general, some of the money, at least big proportion, at least 50% in some companies, will be invested in real estate. Those things usually depend what your investment style you choose, can do between 5 to 20% a year, right? 2021, if you put the money on those kind of investment, you would end the year, if you put it on stock, like about some company did 28, 29% a year profit. So that's insane. Obviously, there's time like everything. The money is invested mostly in the stock market. So when the stock market is down, the money go down. What you pay to those companies is management fees. It's going between 0.5 to 1%. And what you need to understand that the biggest thing that amazing about those kind of investment in Israel, that they give you the ability to take a loan from your investment. Let's just say you now invested 100,000 shekel to one of those tools, financial tools, and you can take 70% out of that money, 70,000 shekel, as a loan with amazing, attractive interest on your payments. For example, 1.1, 1.5, we call it prime minus chetzi, prime minus half. So the 100,000 shekels still working and growing and invested, but now you have another 70,000 shekels as a loan that you can actually invest again in something else, again in real estate, or again in the stock market, or again in one of those financial tools, and then you grow and more and more and more, because if you're doing between 6 to 7% a year, as I said, an average, and you pay on your money like 1.5%, you're playing with money that's not yours, but you're actually making profit. The third advantage of those things, for example, if you invest in something called Gemel Hashka'a, you can invest up to 72,000 shekel a year. If you drag your investment until the age of 60, all the profit, you're getting a cut on your tax. You don't have to pay tax on all your profit. if you're dragging until the age of 60, and that's why it's important to understand those things. Obviously, one of those things is also Keren Ishtalmut, but Keren Ishtalmut, you can only put money if you are independent, and you're going to put 80,000 shekel. But it's important to understand, because if you're self-employee and you have 100,000 shekel, so what do? You put 70,000 shekel in Gemel Hashkaya, and you put the other 20 in Keren Ishtalmut, and that's one of the things you're playing with. And you need to understand that, and I always recommend it, if you want to do one of those things, consult with professional people. Don't do it by yourself. The fourth investment that you can do is, you probably heard about it worldwide, but we also have it in Israel in 3 different big platforms. They do social loans. Basically, you put your money, your 100,000 shekel, in one of those platforms. For example, I do it myself with a company called B2B Israel. You put your money, and the money is being split to different people that take loans from the other side, like B2B or P2P. In other side, people take loans from your money and very high interest. It goes between 6 to 9% interest. And then interest basically goes to you as the investor. Now, those companies do it very well. It's very high regulated. It's very safe. And what they're doing is they take, let's just say you put 100,000 shekel, you can basically loan the money to like 1,000 different people. The system do it automatically. Obviously, you don't have to choose those people. But it's important to understand, because it's lower risk. If one of those people don't pay, obviously the platform and the company know how to deal with him, but it doesn't hurt you. And you can pull that money in any given time. I didn't say it about Gemel Hashkaya and Policy Chisachon, but I talked about before. Also on those 2 things, you can pull the money at any time. The money can go into a bank account with between 4 days, something like that. The same thing with the social loans. And social loans makes, by the way, like plus minus 6% interest a year on your money. Also, the money is liquid. You can pull it whenever you want. And also, you need to understand, when you do the social loans, that in Israel, the capital gain tax is 25%. Let's just say you invested in the stock market or one of the investment tools, 100,000 shekel, you made another 100,000 shekel profit, you have to pay 25,000 shekel tax. When you invest in social loans, and basically the money, and you're getting profit, the profit comes from interest. The tax on interest from loans is only 15%, so it's 10% less, so it's also an advantage. Also, another advantage is that this kind of investment got nothing to do with the stock market. So I'm always telling people, again, part of my strategy, you need to invest anywhere. You need to invest in real estate, invest in other countries, in the stock market, in financial tools, and also, if you can do, in some stuff like social loans, that is basically a type of investment by its own. So again, that's social investment, and I myself investing in B2B Israel is a great investing. If you want, you can see the link in my YouTube if you're looking to do something like that, or in my website, you can also see it there. Okay, the last investment is very popular in Israel in the last few years. We call it alternative investment. What is alternative investment? Basically, if we look at real estate and stock market as a traditional investment, alternative investment, it's everything that it's not stock market or real estate. Most typical is there's all kind of different firm or investment firms that you put the money there, they take the money and they invest in different things. They can invest in real estate as well. They can invest in technology, in startup. They can invest in cyber. They can invest in medical. They can invest in a billion different things. And they choose what they do. What you're doing is usually you give that money, your money to them. They take a cut of the money. They also take a cut of the profit. And obviously there's a ton of different companies, also companies that you, like in alternative investment, they do what I just said about the social loan. You give them the money, they invest, they loan the money to different projects, and they get the interest, and then you get part of that interest. The problem is that in the end of the day, when you do alternative investment, usually it's been managed by people, and you don't have any control, and you put the money and you hope for the best, and they give you some kind of percentage. Like you didn't really bought a real estate, and you didn't really bought an apartment, they buy maybe an apartment, you just get a percentage. So that's why from all the investment I just mentioned, this is my less favorite. I understand people, they want to invest in it because it's just to put the money and forget about it. That's the advantage. It's a minimum work from your side. You can do it also from low amount of money. The good ones, the good firms that know how to do it, generates between 8 to 10% a year. That's also nice. and theoretically they are your address if something happens. The disadvantage again is that you don't have any control on your money, and if you want to pull the money is usually not liquid, so you cannot really pull it. Credibility, even the biggest firm in the country, in the end we're in the news about some misregulated and money disappearing and all kind of stuff like that. So also the management fee of those alternative investments usually is high, between 1 to 5%, and usually they also take between 10 to 25% from the profit. So the most popular is actually 220, 2 from the money you put and 20 from the profit. So to summarize everything, if you ask me today, what can I do with 100,000 shekel? Again, I'm asking, it's all depend on your financial situation, your need, and your goal. Real estate is always an amazing field. For myself, I'm invested, beside alternative investment, I'm invested in all those different things. First thing I started to invest in was real estate. Okay, the first thing I bought a house for investment. But then I didn't have enough money to buy more real estate, so I wanted my money to do something. So I started investing in the stock market. Thirdly, I wanted to start taking advantage of the tax benefits, so I started investing in the financial tools. And now in the last year, I'm buying a lot of properties in Portugal, again, to minimize my risk by splitting my investment by different areas. And yes, now I'm even doing social loans because it's a very stable investment. It's like, it's better the money to sit there than the money to sit in the bank. For example, social loan is very relevant for people that, like, for example, have $500,000 shekel right now in the bank. They know they're going to need the money like in 3 or 4 months from now. Might as well put the money somewhere that they can actually make some profit. So again, it depends what's your age, it depends what your financial goals, what your financial needs. Anyway, when you do the thinking of what can I do with 100,000 shekel, you need to ask those questions. And if you don't know the answer to those questions, maybe it's worth to talk to a financial consultant. Now, obviously, I'm not objective to suggest myself, but yes, obviously, I'm doing it myself. Anyway, guys, I love doing those videos in English. If you want me to do more and more videos, please subscribe to this channel. If you can share this video, if you can do likes to this video, it gives me the drive to do a lot more videos in English about all the different subjects, financial subjects in Israel. Hope you the best. Good luck.